Alright guys, I know. I had a bunch of clicks on the video and they didn't stick around very long. The title of the video, you know, the boat's finally done and the SeaDek's on, and I did a horrible job. I tried to cram it all into one video, you know, the tournament and the reveal of the SeaDek, and I just don't like the way that it turned out. So today we're going to go through what I like about the SeaDek and kind of my worries or concerns. And let me tell you, the guy that did this, very meticulous. I mean, there was a couple things that I did not know if he was going to be able to do or not, and he made it happen. I did have a guy comment on the last video talking about the cracks in the in between my doors, and he said I should have taken, from my understanding, what he was saying is kind of like an L bracket, maybe a piece of angle iron or something like that, you know, thinner, and bolted it to the side of the door to where whenever I closed it, it was nice and flush, and then I could have had the SeaDek put over the top of it. That is a freaking great idea, and I wish I would have thought of that before I had the SeaDek put on. So we got to come up with an idea, something that I could do right now. I could still do that and just paint it black, get it powder coated, but that's just going to be another area that is really hot if you touch it. Like I said, what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So one of my big concerns before I had the SeaDek done was my pistons where they hook to these doors. That, you know, they hold the door open for you. Well, this little bracket right here was bolted through the top of the door, and of course the carpet hides them. So if you ever broke that, even with the carpet, you would have to peel your carpet up and to access here to be able to get it off. Well, I told him, I said, look, I really want there to be holes where I can access this without damaging the SeaDek, just in case anything ever happened. I did not know if he was going to be able to do it, but let me tell you, the guy is very, very meticulous and very precise. I mean, he freaking did it perfect. Every single door has them there. Turned out awesome. All right, so the boat is a little dirty. I still need to wash it out, but that's the beautiful thing about the SeaDek. I can literally pull it right out of here and wash it off with a water hose, and it'll clean up. I've already washed it once, but I have not washed it again since the tournament. And to make this video, try out my new camera. I'm sure y'all could tell the picture quality and the audio quality is a lot better. Let me tell y'all why I decided to go with the throwback Skeeter instead of just your typical Mosquito that you see in all these boats. I think the FXRs, or yeah, the FXR and maybe the FX Limited or something like that. The newer ones, the newer higher end Skeeters, they all come with the SeaDek down in the cockpit area, and they all have the big Mosquito. Well, I wanted to be different, so I looked up throwback Skeeter logos, and I sent it over to the guy, and he worked his magic on it, and he freaking knocked it out of the park. So let's take a look at that. Like I said, I know it's dirty. Don't freaking hate on me. I'm going to get it cleaned up, okay? SeaDek, so far, I like it a lot. So far. A lot better than the carpet. But there is a couple things that I'm worried about. I didn't really go into depth with the last one. I know I talked about the reels and stuff that was sitting up, you know, poking into the SeaDek. Well, so let me flip the camera around here so I can show y'all. So if y'all could see right there, that is where the net was sitting. So it's kind of scraped up right here, scraped the SeaDek up, and just the net, the corner of the net was sitting right there, and it hasn't been there in probably, shoot, I'd say probably at least 2 weeks. The net hasn't been there, and it's still there. So one concern is if you lay anything on the deck of this boat that's got any weight to it, it's going to indent the SeaDek, and it's more than likely not going to go back to how it was. So I got to keep that in mind. You know, a lot of times whenever I put the boat in the shop, or anything like that. It tends to be somewhere that I set stuff. Well, I ain't doing that no more. If I know, you know, come winter time, I'll be working in the shop, you know, I might set, you know, a tool or something up there, just as I guess a table, and I shouldn't do that anyway, but I do. I ain't doing that no more because it will indent the SeaDek. Up here on the front, let me see if I can show y'all. Here on the front, this is what I was talking about, the reel, where the butt of the rod kind of dug into it. I don't know if that was because I had a bunch of rods piled up on this side, and these, in particular, these straps on a 2019 ZX250, those straps are a lot more, they have a lot more tension on them than, say, like my buddy has a 2022, I believe. It's not a ZXR, it's a FX. It's an FX. And his straps are not near as tension as this. I mean, it takes a little bit of oomph to get it over there to latch it. So the rods ain't going nowhere, but if I pile them up, it's definitely putting pressure down there on it, and yeah, y'all see what that does. Kind of the same deal happened over here. Right there, y'all can see I already have a level sitting on the deck of the boat. You can kind of just see the little indentions from the rod grips, pistol grips, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to have to worry about that every single time I put a freaking rod down on the deck, but I will because it's expensive and I don't want to mess it up. Now let's talk about the trolling motor. What do I think about the new Quest? It's freaking awesome. Super quiet, super quiet. So my old Trex, it would push this boat wide open, probably like 3.1 miles per hour, something like that. This one wide open is like 3.9. I've had it up to 4 with a slight wind pushing me. So it's got more power for sure. Like I said, super quiet. I didn't even realize, you know, on my old Trex, I would push the button and I could hear the motor kick on. That's really how I could gauge if I was pushing the button or not. This, several times, my foot's kind of slid over there on the button and I didn't even know it was running until I was already moved off of where I was fishing. The troll tamer for the trolling motor, I ended up having to go with it because I did not want to damage the SeaDek. Troll tamer, I give it an 8 out of 10. There is some times that whenever it shuts, it does not latch. So it's kind of one of the things that, you know, you got to check it every single time. You don't want to be going across the lake, you know, 50, 60 miles an hour, hit a wave, and whoop, there goes your trolling motor. That's going to be a really bad day. So 8 out of 10 with that. I don't know if I could slap some marine grease on it and fix that to where it'll latch every time. But that's just something that I have going on with it. Of course, the Apex 19 on the console here, I love it, but there is some things that I think are pretty common with the Apex series. I called Michael and I talked with him about it, and I think he talked to one of his reps from Humminbird, and from what I can see on like YouTube and stuff like that of people having this issue is for me to mark a waypoint, say if I'm side imaging and I have side imaging and a map pulled up. Well, for that waypoint to be accurate where I want it to be, I have to move the side imaging to the full screen. There cannot be any type of split screen. It has to be the full screen, and that goes across the board. Like if I'm wanting to drop a waypoint on the map, the full screen has to be the map for it to drop in the right spot. So that's kind of a pain in the butt if you ask me. You know, you spend that kind of money on a unit and you have to switch to whatever screen you're wanting to drop your waypoint on full screen. I don't know, maybe they'll come out with an update to fix it. I don't know, but it was very, very aggravating to start with because I would drop a waypoint on a brush pile, go up there, go to the waypoint using my Explorer up there, get on the waypoint, shine with my live scope, no brush pile in sight. So I just started making circles kind of around that waypoint until I found the brush pile, and generally it was about 90 to 100 foot off.
either to the left, to the right, forward, backwards. It wasn't consistent at all. Like, it was off all over the place. So that's kind of aggravating. Let's move on to talk about the cooler upgrade. All right, the cooler lid. This is probably my favorite upgrade in the whole boat, right here. We all know the Skeeter lids that come on these boats are freaking horrible. You know, even if you bump up to the FX series, it's still plastic. So for the same price, I want to say I quoted the FX series, the full get up, you know, with the backrest and you know, the 2 cup holders that come on it. I think it was around 500 bucks for something. This right here is a Tiny Boat Nations 15 by 15 console, and it was around 500 bucks. So this is fully aluminum, plus you get some storage there. It is not dry storage. I am not sure if the water is getting in through the cup holders, through the bottom, and then maybe it's just kind of seeping in through the welds that separate the 2 areas. I'm not sure. That's something that I got to look into. I might possibly be able to put a little tube on the bottom of these cup holders and then drill a hole and run it into the cooler per se. Yes, I know that will make the ice melt quicker if I do get in rain, but if I do, oh well. I would rather it melt the ice than ruin anything that I have in this little box here. So, story behind this, I know I've told it before. I got this cooler lid and I was going to make it open just like the old lid. And me and my daughter were sitting in the boat and I was showing her. I was excited about it. And she said, well, Daddy, why don't you just make it slide so you don't have to sit there and hold it open? I said, girl, you're a genius. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it slide. And I made it slide. To start with, I didn't have any seals around the opening of the cooler. So that little bit of air that got up underneath the cooler would just flow right over the top of that ice and it would melt it really fast. So I got some, you know, you can pick it up at Home Depot or Lowe's, any store like that, some door trim. It's foam, it's got a 3M backing, and I put it around the cooler hole lid and now it seals up nice. I have ice last all day in there right now. I do have to get a smaller one for the back of the cooler, because it kind of peeled up the other one, but the ones that are on the side and on the front that the cooler never really goes off, or the lid never goes off of them, works perfectly. The one on the back, the cooler, you know, the lip of the cooler goes back and it pushes it up, pushes it up, pushes it up until finally it just peels it up. But I was very pleased to see if I put that on there, I'll hold ice, like I said, all day. During the tournament, I put a bag of ice in there. It was already hot. I mean, I think well in the 90s, and held ice all day long. Didn't have to worry. I still had ice on it whenever I made it back home later on that evening. So it even works better than the old cooler lid. That would get so freaking hot. Even on the inside would get hot and the ice would just melt. You'd get about half a day during the summertime with the old cooler lid. You can never have enough cup holders in a boat. Doesn't matter. You always got to have a bunch of cup holders in your boat. All right, let's talk about the storage upgrades now. All the storage upgrades I did was Amp Marine. That's what they all are. This is the drawer understep, and I've just, it's kind of become kind of a trash. I throw my trash in there since I'm utilizing the cooler. That's where I used to throw the trash because it was not a very good cooler anyways. But now I throw my cut plastics and stuff like that in there, because we all know, like, if you're using a like a latex or anything like that plastic, they tend to melt. So they get thrown in that, so I don't have to worry about them ruining my SeaDek. Let's move up here. Let me move the phone out of the way. We went with the full sides, and I keep all the baits that I'm primarily going to use that day. You know, I have my minnows up here in the front. I have my crawls, creature baits, my big worms, my finesse baits, and some paddle tails for my swim jigs and stuff like that. I keep those all right here, easy access. And then I did get the BKK OCD box. I love it so far. The hooks have been really good, have performed really well. And then we got the plano box holder that goes down in the middle. It will hold 6 in total, but since I'm doing it this way, I don't have to put all my baits in these plano boxes. So right now these are just jigs, spinner baits. I still have a couple more boxes I got to throw in here. And then this little tray here, I didn't even know if I was gonna use. The guy just gave it to me. He was like, dude, you'll find a use for it. And I did. So I'll throw my lightly used soft plastics in here. You know, baits that are not ripped or anything like that. Maybe I just want to try a different color. I throw them in here. That way I'm not throwing them away. I can still use them. On this side, I did get, hey, y'all don't be getting my feet pics and trying to sell them. I did get the full storage for this side too, but I can't fit my deep crank box in there. So I just elected to leave it in the shop until if I find something else to do with my deep cranks, then I'll put it in here. Got more terminal tackle here that don't fit in that box. And then I got my big line throughs and just my big soft plastic baits in that box. And then of course my square bills, jerk baits, crank baits, shallow water diving crankbaits in there. And then on this side, we ended up doing the live bags. So I keep, you know, all my crawl creatures in this bag. Each bag is labeled on, that's my Carolina rig stuff. Got the dude wipes in there. You always got to have them. And then we got finesse worms, all that stuff. And then that one too, this is another one he gave me. He's like, dude, you'll find a use for. And it works perfect to throw my line in. So we have all that. Odds. We have the Live neoprene rod sleeves. I will say, with the casting rods, it's a pretty tight fit in there. You have to have that sleeve perfectly on there for them to go on. It doesn't really bug me a lot now. When I first got them, I was like, man, dude, these things are a pain in the butt to put on. Until now, I know exactly how to put them on. Now, anybody who's curious on taking all their carpet out, if they have a ZX model Skeeter, it's finished fiberglass underneath it. I mean, in this box I put a little rubber pad down there to kind of help from scratching up my rods and stuff, but it's finished fiberglass. I could have done a better job on cleaning it up, but I was kind of in a time crunch and wanted to get it all done. I was gonna replace these two until they're like freaking $50 a piece. So these are not getting replaced right now. I do have a few of them that leak, this one being one of them. That's why if y'all seen the water on one of those tops of those bags, it's because this leaks. And of course we had to put the throwback sticker on the front too. This is another, if you have a ZX model Skeeter, highly recommend this box from Amped. Makes it super easy throwing your, you know, your transom saver, the clips for the motor that don't allow it to go side to side. You throw them in here. I keep jumper cables in here. Keep a screwdriver with a bit, a bunch of different bit heads in there. This is an awesome little box here. I think that's it. The camera's actually starting to get a little hot because it's hot in this shop. All in all, I love it. I would do it again for sure. It did take some work. If y'all watched the other videos, of course I cut them up. I couldn't show everything, but getting the carpet off this boat was absolutely horrible. Getting the carpet off wasn't bad. It was getting all the carpet adhesive and the leftover carpet off of this boat was horrible. So if y'all are gonna do it, highly recommend, and I didn't know this, but I highly recommend using paint remover. Make sure that it is fiberglass safe, you know, gel coat safe. Crap, I can't remember. It might have been the DAP paint remover, paint stripper, and you could put it on fiberglass. If I would have known that way earlier, the process wouldn't have been bad at all. So if y'all get into this, if taking any type of residue off of aluminum, carpet residue, adhesive, anything like that, use paint stripper. Don't recommend if you're trying to save your paint to use paint stripper. But if it's just, you know, you want to get it down to bare aluminum, paint stripper. That is gonna make your work and life a heck of a lot easier. I appreciate y'all checking into this video. Hopefully, if y'all have any questions, drop them down in the comments. Hey, I'm trying to grow this channel, y'all. So please share, like, and subscribe. Tell your buddies. If y'all see stuff that y'all want to see more of, let me know. Let me know. I'm trying to grow the channel. So I appreciate y'all that have stuck around and dealt with kind of my inconsistency, I guess you could say. We're about to get a lot better. All right? We'll catch y'all on the next one.